Both RuneScape 3 and Old School RuneScape are incredible games with a lot to offer in terms of game experience and content. Some updates have already been inspired from the other game, such as construction contracts in RuneScape 3 being inspired from Mahogany Homes in Old School RuneScape, and Nightmare Zone in Old School RuneScape being inspired by the Dominion Tower in RuneScape 3. However, there are really good pieces of content in both games that don't exist in the other and would be greatly beneficial if it was. My name is Regicidal, and this is 3 things Old School RuneScape and RuneScape 3 need from each other. We'll kick things off with updates that Old School RuneScape would benefit from that comes from RuneScape 3. Number 1. The evolution of combat. I'm just kidding. I'm sorry. I couldn't help myself. Please don't click away. Okay, now for real this time. Number 1. The Tool Belt. The Tool Belt was a quality of life update that came to RuneScape 3 on December 6th, 2011. What it does is allow a player to carry and access tools at any time without taking up spaces in your inventory. How the Tool Belt works is instead of using a tinderbox with a log in your inventory, you would simply click on the log and choose the option of light or fletch, and you would use the respective tool from your tool belt to do the action. In RuneScape 3, there are over 70 items that can be stored in your tool belt, including but not limited to a pickaxe, hatchet, harpoon, magic secateurs, a bone crusher, and a gold accumulator. You can even add the higher tiers of pickaxes and hatchets to your tool belt, meaning that you can use a crystal hatchet without having to equip it or having it in your inventory. Now, I don't think that Old School RuneScape should incorporate all of the features that RuneScape 3's tool belt offers. If it did, it would definitely be too much. Old School RuneScape should add in the most basic form of tool belt. All that you could put in it would be a bronze axe, bronze pickaxe, knife, hammer, chisel, saw, tinderbox, shears, a rake, seed dibber, spade, a gardening trowel, a basic pair of secateurs, a glass blowing pipe, small fishing net, big fishing net, fishing rod, fly fishing rod, lobster pot, and harpoon. Just 20 simple items with no upgrades. This would allow players the freedom of more inventory space when skilling, in most cases just one, which isn't a big deal, but it would be extremely convenient. This means that you can cut one more gem per inventory, fletch one more log into a bow, you would never have to worry about not having a slash item for webs in the wilderness, it would allow you to save more inventory space when questing, and you'll never have to say, crap, I forgot my tinderbox, and then spend 5 minutes banking, using 2 doses of stamina potion, and running all the way back to your quest area. That definitely didn't happen to me. Something like this basic tool belt would be a great quality of life addition that doesn't make the game easier for players, just more convenient. Number 2. Bank presets. Now these do nothing but save you time. Bank presets were released in RuneScape 3 on April 7th, 2014. All it does is allow you to save and load any equipment and inventory that you set up from your bank. So let's say you gear up for Kriara. You throw on your Kirill set, your bow, a specific amount of brews and restores in your inventory, as well as food, etc. You then would be able to go into your bank, save the setup you made, and at any point in time, click that preset button in your bank to load out the exact same items that you saved. That way, when you finish your God Wars trip, you can bank and re-gear in literally a second without forgetting any items. There was literally one God Wars trip where I took strength potions instead of Sarah brews. They looked the same, give me a break. And that trip did not go well. So presets would greatly help you with not making that same mistake. Now in RuneScape 3, you get 5 presets for free, and then you can unlock more with loyalty points and rune coins. I think that if Old School gave out anywhere from 3 to 5 bank presets for free, that would be perfect. They could even allow for more to be unlocked, but at the cost of a bond or 2. These would be a huge time saver for people that fight multiple different PvM bosses, PK, or do a variety of different skilling methods. There's literally zero downside to adding presets into Old School, and it would make every player's life just a bit easier. I mean, Old School had a bank rework and placeholders way before RuneScape 3 did. Why not upgrade the bank just a bit more? Number 3. The Living Rock Caverns. Underneath the Dwarven Mine lies the Living Rock Caverns, a high-level area for fishing and mining that released in RuneScape 3 on September 17th, 2009. When it came out, it introduced a new AFK mining method, a new solid source of fishing XP, a new best healing single bite food, and some new monsters. The reason why I think that the Living Rock Caverns, or better known as LRC, would be a good update is because Old School could use a different way to train mining, a new best healing food, and who wouldn't want additional monsters to kill? For the fishing and food side of things, the last good piece of food to release in Old School RuneScape was anglerfish back in 2016. That's 5 years ago. With all of the new bosses, new weapons, and new armor that have released, I think that introducing a new piece of food that heals just a bit more than a manta ray, a dark crab, a tuna potato, or anglerfish does would be a good thing. This fish doesn't have to be called a cavefish or a rocktail like they are in RuneScape 3, but it should heal you around 25 life points and not be able to overheal you. That way anglers remain unique and are still a top food to buy and use. Now to catch this fish, there would most likely be a fishing requirement around or above level 90. In RuneScape 3, cavefish required 85 fishing to catch, and rocktails required 90 fishing. With such a high level requirement, the new best food would be on the more expensive side, meaning that skillers have a good opportunity to make some money and also get some solid fishing XP. As for mining in old school RuneScape, it's very basic. You have regular mining, where you mine one rock, get one ore, it depletes, and you wait for it to respawn. You have gemrock mining, which is the same concept but with gems instead of ore. And lastly, you have the Motherlode Mine, which was released in 2014. This was a brand new area that was different from the normal way of training mining, by mining pay dirt from the walls of the area and loading it into a hopper. Then the pay dirt would turn into ore, and you could take it out and bank it. The Motherlode Mine was a great addition, however the XP rates aren't the best for the only way to train mining in a slightly AFK way. Currently, the best way to get mining XP in old school is to power mine, aka dropping your ore and constantly mining. There should be at least some other alternative with comparable XP per hour, hence why the LRC would be great. On RuneScape 3, this update introduced concentrated coal deposits and concentrated gold deposits. Coal deposits required level 70 mining, and gold deposits required level 80 mining. What makes these deposits special is that when you mine them, they don't instantly deplete after mining one ore. They're similar to woodcutting. You can cut a single maple tree and it could deplete instantly after getting one log, or you could cut a single maple tree and get an entire inventory of maple logs without it ever depleting. If they did implement these exact deposits, coal and gold are already stable in the economy, and adding these to the game wouldn't really affect them much. Having this higher level option of training mining would fit perfectly between the slow and more AFK rates of the Motherlode Mine and the very click intensive fast-paced power mining. Lastly, in RuneScape 3, the LRC released a few monsters, the Living Rock Protector, Striker, and Patriarch. These monsters never really offered anything great in terms of drops, but after you killed them and mined their remains, they did give you the bait in order to fish the cavefish and rocktail, as well as provide some decent XP. They also could be assigned as a Slayer task. Old school wouldn't have to implement these exact monsters, but they could make something very similar to the LRC and put their own spin on it that would fit the landscape of the game. I think that the addition of the LRC would plug a lot of different holes at one time, yet keep a traditional old school RuneScape feel. Now it's time for 3 updates that RuneScape 3 would benefit from that come from old school RuneScape. Number 1. Construction changes. I've said it so many times, construction in RuneScape 3 is pretty useless. It's one of the only skills that is just begging for a rework. With the current landscape of the game, there's only a handful of useful things that your house provides to you for such an expensive skill to get to level 99. Player-owned houses haven't been updated or changed since they added the aquarium room in 2015. Updates such as the lodestone network and the passage of the abyss made it so any form of teleports in your house serve no purpose. The menagerie doesn't matter much anymore because most pets aren't introduced as items, but as unlockables in your customization section. The dungeon hasn't seen a new monster edition and doesn't even have a real reason for you to want to build one in the first place. I mean, why would you spend 10 mil on a steel dragon that gives 6,000 construction XP when you make it and provides no drops or XP when killed? Can I get a refund? There's a lot wrong with construction and the skill actually has so much potential. There could be construction hotspots around Gillinor that let you build useful things. Your POH dungeon could be incorporated with the Sunken Pyramid and Personal Slayer dungeon for more benefits. A central teleport station that holds every possible teleport in the game. Various new quality of life additions could be added, and so much more. In old school RuneScape, they added loads of features to construction that makes it worth it. Things like being able to put a fairy ring or spirit tree in your superior garden. A portal nexus that allows you to teleport to pretty much any place that offers a teleport. An occult altar which allows you to swap to any spellbook, the ornate jewelry box that allows you to teleport to any location that a ring or amulet can bring you to, and an ornate rejuvenation pool which restores your life points, prayer points, run energy, special attack energy, restores your stats, and cures poison and venom when you drink from it. There's a lot more that old school's construction offers that I'm genuinely shocked that RuneScape 3 hasn't incorporated yet. Adding some of these amazing features would make construction worth training in RuneScape 3 and give you a reason to actually visit your house after getting 99. Seriously, about that refund though. Number 2. Birdhouse trapping. This hunter training method was released in old school RuneScape on September 7th, 2017 with the release of Fossil Island. They're essentially farm runs, but for hunter. All you need to do is bring a hammer, a chisel, a log for whatever type of birdhouse you're making, a clockwork, and some seeds. You then make your birdhouses, place them down in the 4 locations on Fossil Island, and fill them with seeds. Then roughly 50 minutes later, you return to a full birdhouse and empty them to get bird's nests, feathers, and a chunk of hunter XP, and then repeat the process. RuneScape 3 doesn't have many viable hunter training options early on. It gets better once you get to the higher levels with various good XP gaining methods, but getting to that point is the problem. Nobody catches kebbits with deadfall trapping or groks with pitfall trapping. Even snaring birds can be slow and annoying. However, if you're doing these lower level methods alongside birdhouse runs, it could make the skill more interesting and enjoyable to train. Not only that, but it would be good for Iron Man accounts as well to gather some extra bird's nests for herb lore, seeds for farming, and feathers for fletching and fishing. Something like birdhouse trapping could easily be incorporated into Anachronia, aka the Fossil Island of RuneScape 3, and bring a lower level training element to an area that predominantly contains higher level training methods. It would be a perfect fit. Number 3. Skilling bosses. In old school RuneScape, there's something called the Winter Tot, which is a minigame style boss where you assist pyromancers to take down a howling snowstorm. This is the first actual skilling boss to be released across both games. During the boss fight, you can't use actual combat to take it down. In order to defeat it, you must keep the braziers in the area lit and fueling the fire with bruma roots or bruma kindlings. While you're gathering roots, you must avoid or tank the damage that the snowstorm deals to you through several different attacks. If you die during the fight, you will lose your items as well as your hardcore Iron Man status if you are one, just like in a regular PvM scenario. The skilling boss gives a ridiculous amount of firemaking XP and is the best way to train firemaking in the game. On top of that, it offers a wide variety of loot such as the Pyromancer outfit that gives bonus firemaking XP when worn, the Tome of Fire which you can equip, supplying you with fire runes with the help of burnt pages, a dragon axe, and various other supplies. I pitched the idea of a skilling boss on the forums back in 2012 and in person at Jagex HQ in 2013. The content developers that I were talking to, as well as the head of content at the time, really liked the idea, and I'm surprised that we haven't seen a skilling boss in RuneScape 3 to this day. The closest thing we've gotten to one is Big Game Hunter, but that doesn't really have a PvM feel because there's no damage or chance of dying, and you can't participate in it with others. With all of the resources RuneScape 3 has, I feel like they can make a very cool skilling boss that would not only be an effective way to train your skills, but can reward some sweet items like more skilling offhands or even skilling main hands. This would be a great addition to the game because it would be usable by pretty much every style of player. High level players would do it for the drops and possible profit, med level players would do it for the XP, low level players would ideally want to train their stats to be able to try it depending on the requirements, Iron Man accounts would have more options with how to progress their account and gather supplies, and skillers would have new goals to work towards and it would incorporate PvM into the skilling community. It is an absolute win all around. And that was 3 things old school RuneScape and RuneScape 3 need from each other. If you agree or disagree with anything that I thought was a good idea, please let me know in the comments below. Also, if you think either game should incorporate anything else from the other, let me know that as well. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like on it. It took a lot of time to put together, so it would be greatly appreciated. If enough people like it, I'll make a part 2 containing even more things that the game could benefit from adding to each other. However, that's all for this video. I'm Regicidal, and I'll see you next time.